Now there's lots of products out there on the market that say that they can help with your game. And I found a product that has certainly helped with my game this year, and I wanted to do a bit of an overview of my year with HackMotion, some of the areas that I've focused on that I feel like has helped improve my game, but also helped improve people that I coach as well. And I think this is a product that certainly could work with you at home, but also you can use it with your coaches when you're going through some sessions yourself. But let's have a little look now at some of the areas that I've been working on using HackMotion this year. So the wedge game, let's start with my pitching and kind of longer shots coming into the greens. And my wedge game historically has, I would say, been a bit iffy, should we say. I get myself into some great positions, certainly off the tee. I hit lots of fairways, but then I get myself close to a green within sort of 80 to 90 yards, let's say, anywhere through and in towards the green. And I'm really not getting myself into a position where I can get myself up and down, which is really kind of frustrating. And one interesting stat that I heard not long ago was that if you take the best players in the world, the DP World Tour, the PGA Tour, if you take those players from around 30 to 50 yards out and in, they are getting up and down about 80 to 85% of the time. But when you move them to 50 yards to, let's say, 80 yards, that really drops, and it drops down to about 30% or 33% of the time that they will get up and down from that. So that actually gives me a little bit of confidence that I'm not actually that bad. If you take the best players in the world, not being able to get up and down, well, only getting up and down, let's say, once out of 3 shots, that's not bad. But for me personally, I would say that I'm probably closer to maybe getting up and down from 50 to 80 yards. I would say maybe 1 to 2 times out of 10. So even though I was missing, let's say, down the right-hand side, I was also leaving the face just a fraction open all the time, and therefore I was losing a lot of speed, because ultimately if you want to generate a little bit more ball speed or get the ball to go out there just a little bit further, you need to make sure that you pretty much square your club face up. If you leave it open, you're just going to add lots of more loft, you're going to add a little bit more deflection on the wedge itself, so therefore the ball was going right and dropping up short. And for lots of you golfers out there, I'm sure if you miss a shot to the right hand side or you slice it to the right hand side, the chances are you've come up short of your intended, let's say, number that you're trying to hit. So the other thing that I was getting from it was that I realized from using the HackMotion system that I was kind of getting my handle to lean too far forward into the shot. I wasn't getting any kind of real release of the club. So as I was kind of working down to the ball, if you keep that handle forward, the face wants to stay open. But the other thing for that is that I was getting heavy divots coming into the shot, and those heavy divots meant that that club was wanting to go a little bit further south, and therefore the ball was striking a little bit higher up the face, again adding more loft, but also losing lots of ball speed from that shot. And I could sense it as well. I could sense that I was getting that ball to just feel a little bit poor off the face, so a poor strike. So working with HackMotion, we got focused on a little bit more of a release of the club. Certainly when I got down towards the ball, getting that club to just get the sense, like it was almost like a bit like a driver, where I get the sense with a driver to get the club head to take over my hands as I kind of come through. Instead of trying to lean into it, this position, almost like hitting a punch shot with an iron, I was trying to get the sense of just trying to let the club head catch up as it come through. And the great thing about that is that it's also, not only is it helping square the face up coming into impact and maintaining a direction that's going the right way and adding good amount of loft onto the shot, but also it enabled the bounce of the club to work properly. So I wasn't getting that club digging down too much. The bounce was kicking in, allowing that club to just glide on the surface and then pick that ball up as it kind of worked its way through. Strike location a little bit lower, which again enables me to maintain some good ball speeds. So even though I had to sort of focus on this and work on this and schedule in some practice sessions, I've got to say, when I've been out onto golf courses, certainly when it gets wet underfoot, you know, when we're moving into the winter months, I've got to say that by getting that sense of that club releasing or getting the club to take over my hands on the way through and not having that club dig into the ground, it does make a massive difference when it comes to the strike performance. So working with a system like this, allowing me to have an understanding of what I was doing wrong, because you've got to remember I'm a PGA pro and I still was struggling to get the feelings or why am I doing this? What is happening? Why am I reacting this way? So working with a system that's giving you instant feedback with every shot you hit made a massive difference for my short game when it came to my pitching and my longer wedges into greens. I certainly feel like I'm getting the club a little bit better contact-wise onto the ball, but also I feel like I'm gaining a little bit more confidence when I get out into the golf course, and hopefully we can score just a little bit better. However, I want to talk to you about my golf swing now, because that was the next bit that we focused on when it came to using hack motion. Now, this is an area that's plagued me for a long time, and it's to do with my wrist positions at the top of my golf swing, and then in turn managing the wrist helps manage where we're going to be when it comes to the face of the club. So what I've always struggled with, which I know a lot of golfers out there struggle the same way, is I've generally struggled with not being able to manage the face on the way down. So I end up having inconsistencies with ball flights and obviously strikes at the same time. So working with hack motion, we've kind of got to a position where I'm trying to get a feeling of where my wrist should be at the top of the swing, or certainly during the swing and then working into the swing, and using some of the drills that they've got on their site as well, which helps to kind of give you some ideas of what you can kind of work on to help get your club into the right position. But ultimately it's giving me feedback with every shot, as I've talked about with the pitching. So for me, I was very cupped at the top of the swing. By the time I got that club kind of parallel or just past parallel, I was very cupped with this left wrist position and trying to get the sensation of holding it there. By cupping it this way, what it does for me is it generally keeps the face a little bit open. So what I've got to do on the way down is I've got to manage that and then get that club face to want to close down and deliver the right amount of loft, the right amount of club into the shot that I'm trying to play. So having your wrists in the right place, or helping you get them in the right place, is really important to being able to then put that club back onto the ball and just rotate out of the way. For me, I became quite a handsy player. I've always been a bit of a handsy player, to be honest with you, but having my wrists in the right place here is definitely going to help me be able to just almost like hold onto the club a little bit more and then rotate just a little bit harder, which again, if you can rotate into the shot and quieten your hands down, you're going to get a little bit more consistency when it comes to the face of the club and then ultimately the direction of the ball where you're trying to go. So the end result when it came to what I was focusing on, and something that kind of, I don't know, I kind of slipped into it really, was how do I get myself into a position where I get control of my left wrist position using the hack motion system? Well, what actually really helped me when it kind of came down to it is I had a little bit of an injury with my left shoulder. Still there to a point, you know, it's getting better over time, but that injury allowed me to stop the club just a little bit short of where I was normally going. And to be honest with you, I've actually gained yardage. I've gained yardage for a couple of reasons. My strike performance has improved massively, but that extra little bit at the top of the swing was causing this left wrist to start opening up or cupping just a little bit more. So actually, by me just getting the sense that I'm swinging kind of like what feels like three-quarter swing to me on the way back, and then firing on the way down, my wrists now get to a point where they stay flat right the way through the backswing, and ultimately, that's what I'm trying to achieve from hack motion. So actually working with hack motion, but also trying to manage an injury, has helped me get this club in a much better position at the top, which in turn allows me to be able to really rotate hard onto it and control that face. And I've got to say, the aggression into the shot is definitely gone up a lot. So I feel like I've got a lot more power going into it when I come into impact. And just by feeling that I'm swinging it a little bit shorter, gets control of my left wrist position, manages the face just a little bit more, should we say, or better, and then ultimately I can rotate hard onto the shot and therefore get control of the face and get control of the ball. So that's how hack motion has helped work with my own game, in my longer game. Let's have a little look now at just how it's been working nicely with my putting. So a couple of key areas that I wanted to focus on when it came to my putting. There was two key areas that hack motion talked to me about, but from a focus point of view, the reason why I was looking at my putting was because I'd missed a few little short ones out on the golf course, and this wasn't just something that was popping up every now and then, it was becoming a bit of a regular thing. So I wanted to address it, and putting has always been a positive part of my game. It's something that I stand up and I feel like I'm going to hold putts, which is great, but when you miss one or two, you kind of want to know the reasons behind it. It wanted me to focus on my tempo. This was something that was maybe something that was coming into my game, which maybe was coming from being a little bit negative out on the golf course. So having tempo for me was getting a little bit too quick in the transition from backswing into downswing. So just trying to focus on working with a metronome to try and get the sense of trying to keep a little bit more flow in my putting stroke. And if you get a bit anxious, you might get a bit quick from the top. That not just in your putting, but in your long game as well. So you want to try and control how you bring that club from the takeaway position up to the backswing and then flow it down into your downswing. So that's something I have focused on and something that's been in my mind. But the other one, which was really interesting, was actually very similar to what I got in my long game, which was more about that I was getting my cupped left wrist position. So I was actively getting my left wrist just a bit too active on the way through, which was in turn adding a little bit of loft on the putter. Maybe my strike performance was getting a bit inconsistent. Therefore, I was tending to leave the club open or even turn it over and miss that ball down the left-hand side. So having the sense of almost keeping my left wrist rigid and rise up on the putt as I kind of come through gave me the feeling that I was creating a little bit more of a topspin type of feel as I roll up that golf ball, which actually felt fantastic. Has it helped with my putting moving forward? I definitely feel like I'm a little bit more confident over those shorter putts because it's giving me something to dial in on. I'm not stood over it going, am I going to hold this, am I not going to hold this? I'm focusing on the technique, which in turn takes my mind away and then gives me the confidence when I'm moving into my putt. So a couple of really key areas there that I feel like where Hack Motion has worked for me, has really kind of started to move me in the right direction when it comes to my game overall, not just in putting, but all the areas. And just looking on their website now, leading up probably to Christmas as we're getting into it, they're offering some deals. They really are offering some deals. So we've got some sales on the actual products itself, but then when you go into the tiers, they're offering some discounts in the tiers as well. So now is a good time to consider possibly putting Hack Motion into your game. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that video and got a bit more of an understanding of what I've been working on when it comes to Hack Motion. I just want to take this opportunity to thank Hack Motion for being involved with this little series that we've put together. I also want to thank them for helping me with my own game, and I definitely feel like this is something that can work for your game, but also to help you work with your coaches and give you a little bit more of a purpose when it comes to your practice. Don't forget, if you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll look forward to seeing you again on the next video.